profit. Back now with Jim Toohey, Marjorie Clifton, Bill Donahue. Jim, I want to say, first of all, the FDA did approve Ella as a prescription emergency contraceptive, and so we've got that part of it assigned. Endometriosis is too complicated to resolve, but of the many claims, one is that only the surgical response to the condition is effective over time. Now we can get back to the issue of the accommodation by this president, which is, in your judgment, what?
Well, I just think it was a fig leaf of a compromise that attempted to keep his liberal base appeased and also to try to reach as many Catholics as he could with what he considered an accommodation. But because it's so confusing and the details are missing, it just begs the question, if this was such a magic solution, why wasn't it first offered? The reality is he was at the podium today because of an outcry by a lot of Americans that they feel their religious liberties under attack and that they're being required or coerced by a federal mandate. And I think Ave Maria University, we're a little university. We are out there trying to educate students in the Catholic tradition. We're proud to be Catholic. There's no way we are going to provide health benefits to our employees if we are in some way, through this mandate, funding drugs like you just described, RU-486 or sterilization or other things that are contrary to Catholic teaching. So while there will be an effort by a lot of people to make this out to be a discussion about birth control, it's not. It's about a right of conscience and a right of Americans to be able to say to the federal government, we have First Amendment rights. We are providing a health plan without having to underwrite these objectionable practices.
As you say, the issue seemingly four square is one of religious freedom. You don't dispute that, do you, Marjorie?
No, I don't. And actually, I mean, I agree that it's sort of troublesome that we're even at this point now and having to deal with the accommodation. But I will say
let's be clear, though. Let's be clear. No matter how much any of us regrets it, this was a conscious decision. It was volitional on the part of this administration that chose to take on this issue and the Catholic Church, period.
But I think the intent I think it was more having to do with the protection of the individual, and this being, by the Institute of Medicine, the recommended preventative care that women needed. And if you look at it, even before the accommodation was made...
Well, contraception is designed to prevent, to prevent life. But, I mean, that's...
Well, but also you have to understand that the Catholic Church, I mean, I'm 14 years of Catholic school, and I'm an active practicing Catholic. And what we actually teach is the informed conscience, and that is and responsible parenting, both of which are about having children at the appropriate time. It's not being closed off to the option of having children, but it's saying that we're going to be responsible in doing so. And I think my personal plea to the Catholic Church is not one about this particular issue, but more about what we're doing for those women who do find themselves pregnant, like my cousin, who was a junior at Fordham, who was unable to get access to birth control, found herself pregnant, was then had her housing scholarship removed. She was on full scholarship and had absolutely no support from the university, and that's troubling.
That's just not the that's not the issue.
I mean, I appreciate the personal anecdotes, and certainly they can be shared by families all across the country, irrespective of religion or walk of life. But we also have to come to terms with the fact that this is a straightforward attack on the Catholic Church. What one wishes in the way of motivation or not. I mean, it's well, he didn't compromise; he accommodated. We must correct you on that.
We accommodated.
I didn't see.
But Lou, I don't see
compromise.
I still don't know what my side got out of this. And by the way, yes, we do teach about an informed conscience, but we also teach that contraception and abortion are wrong, just like racism. Your conscience doesn't give you a chance to override that. Quite frankly, where is the grassroots movement? Where is the demand in this country? Where is the furor amongst women saying, I can't afford sterilization? Planned Parenthood, which I am forced to pay for already in my taxes, will give free sterilization to any indigent woman. You can get contraception either free or at low cost any place in this country.
Marjorie, you were...
But I would say... Well, according to the public religion research, which came out when the original rule was presented by the president, 58% of Catholics actually supported the rule. So if you want to talk about the Catholic population, I mean, I can only see that support going up. And the church has even said they support the steps that are being made by the administration. And I would say the sign of a good politician, and any president, Republican or Democrat, is one that is willing to compromise, is willing to hear both sides of the argument.
There's no compromise. And when you look at the Rasmussen poll, you'll find out when you give people a choice, Catholics vote 77% to 9 to give people an option.
I'm going to close this with one other. Two observations. One, that this is another mandate. Two, that the issue of mandate, the individual mandate, is now before the United States Supreme Court that will rule on its constitutionality and also its severability from the rest of Obamacare. But also, 54% of Americans, interestingly enough, reject Obamacare altogether and want it repealed in its entirety. That, according to the latest Rasmussen poll on the issue. Marjorie Clifton, we thank you for being with us. Appreciate it. And Jim Toomey, the head of Ave Maria University, we thank you. Bill Donahue, thank you. Appreciate it. Up next, 10.